No, that was a bit of a metaphor. Basically, you got to come to class to actually get the bits in between the worked examples. Yeah, all that gumph that I was just talking about for 5-10 minutes, I don't record that. I record just the worked examples. So that's why it's important to still be in class. Don't care if you're representing the school playing squash. If you'd won, I'd care. I don't care.
What are you on about?
I'm just picking on you. Stop.
It's not my fault. I'm sorry nobody else tried out.
Oh, you're saying you're that dodgy?
Yeah.
All right, so we've got 5y squared. So we're doing it non-monic. We're using the cross method. I didn't start this at the right time, so we're going to have to sort of recap over it. I've got a 5y and a y. They are factor pairs of 5y squared. How many different ways can I multiply things? I could do 5 and y squared as a factor pair as well, right? I could do a 5 there and a y squared there. That would work if I did 5 times y squared. Cool? That would still give me, if I multiplied those two together, I would still get the 5y squared, yeah? But that's not what our answers ever look like, do they? When we get to the binomial expansion, we've always got a y in the one bracket and a y in the other one, right? Does that make sense? And that's why we're not doing that particular version. Now, if that was a 6, I could have 2y and 3y, or y and 6y. Does that make sense? They are different factor pairs, and what we would have to do is test them. Okay? So now we actually have a 6 at the end. We have to do one of these crosses for each factor pair. Does that make sense? Okay. No. Thanks for asking. So let's start with 1 and 6, right? What's my next one? What's my next one? Is it? Yo. Haven't done anything with it yet. We'll get to that. Okay. Now, you would probably, I think you were on the right track a minute ago. I know you were trying to just swap them, weren't you? Okay. What we do now is we use cross multiplication to see which one's going to be the correct one to use. Using the cross method. I actually prefer the PSF method. I do not subscribe to this method, but other people do. I don't mind if other people are wrong. That's their prerogative. No, it'll work. I just don't think it is the most efficient way of doing it. I think there is chances of confusion. I prefer the way I do it. But obviously, I prefer the way I do it, otherwise I'm an idiot. Why would I do it a way I don't prefer? Other than to teach you muppets. Just saying. All right. So now we do the cross multiplication and check. See what we get. So if I did that, I'm going to get 30y and y. Cool? They add together to give you 31y. So that's a no-go. That make sense? We're looking for minus 13. So 5y, that's 15. That's 2y. That would give me 17y. That's no good. This one would give me minus 30y. Minus y would give me minus 31y. That's no good. Well, is it? Let's check. 5y is minus 15y minus 2y. Which gives me minus 17y. No. Because it multiplied together to give you positive 6. But that one doesn't work either.
Are we doing something wrong?
Not something wrong. Oh, I know what the answer is.
Well, why don't you just...
Have we got any more we could check? If I go back here and I go 5y, y, would you agree that this might give us a different answer? What would that give us? 6y, 5y. Gives us 11y. It's still not right, but can you see I've now got this other set that I could try? Well, not really. You could do 8 of them. There we go. So I'll just rub out that one that I just did so that you can now see what I'm about to do. 5y, y, and that would give us minus 3y, minus 10y, which would add together to give you minus 13y. That's the correct one. So we end up with 5y minus 2. Sorry, is it minus 2, that one? Or is it the minus 3? Where do we write it? Which one do we write, do you reckon? Yeah, it actually does, because you see how when we switched these two, it was wrong? So it will matter. So which one goes next? So is it? Which one? Yeah, which one? Whoa. Which one? Which ones are multiplying together? The 5y and the minus 2, right? Yeah. Okay, do that one and that one ever multiply together? So this must be the minus 3. And that must be the minus 2. Because that number and that, or that term and that term never multiply together. Okay, and we don't want them to multiply together. We want the 5y to be timesing by the minus 2, and we want the y to be multiplying by the minus 3.
So if you do the FOIL method for that, you'd get the...
If I did the FOIL method for this, I would get 5y squared minus 3y minus 2y, minus 10y, sorry. 10y plus 6. 5y squared minus 13y plus 6. Yep. Yeah, that's the question. So that is a good way to double check. You can always expand it again just to see. Okay? If you're not sure whether you did it right. Does that make sense? Awesome. Now that is the cross method. You don't like it? Well, let's have a look at the PSF method. PSF stands for product, sum, factor. Cool? Sorry? Yeah, except this is a non-monic now. We haven't done one with a non-monic. We can't, it's not quite the same. But I'm going to say that I'll write down the 5y squared minus 13y plus 6. Okay. Now, if we did one, for instance, if we did x squared plus 3x plus 2, okay, you could go, well, the product is 2, the sum is 3, the factors are 1 and 2. Cool? That's nice and easy. The product is 2. Where did you get the product from? Okay, now with a non-monic, this is slightly different. Why is a non-monic slightly different? Cool. Well, there's a number in front of that. We just don't write it. What's the number? 1. Okay, what's 1 times 2? 2. So with this one, when we do the product, it's actually not going to be just 6. It's going to be the 6 times 5. Okay, we have to multiply it by the coefficient of the y squared in this case. Does that make sense? Okay, and that's all because when you expand it, you're doing 5y times something. Okay, so now the sum is still the same. The sum is still minus 13. Cool? And then the factors are now of 30. They're not of 6. Yes. And I mean, that should be y squared, and that's y. But realistically, you're not trying to get it to add up to minus 13y. You're just trying to get it to add up to minus 13. Like, you're just trying to get two numbers that will multiply together to give you 30 and add together to give you minus 13. Cool? You can have the y there. It doesn't matter. The pronumeral is irrelevant at this particular moment. Cool? So you need to find factors that multiply for p, so the factors of p, that also add to 15. So what are the factors of 30? Now, once you get going with this, you should be able to look at it and go, I get it. So 5 and 6 is definitely a pair, but is it the right one? Probably not. 2 and 15. You have a look at the friends of those numbers. The friends of 13 are 2 and 15. Okay, because I could do 15 minus 2. And to get minus 13, I could have minus 15 plus 2. Yeah, so you start looking at the relationships between the numbers. You could just go, okay, 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. That's the pairs, okay? and then you can eliminate them. There's no way I can get 30 and 1 to add or subtract in any way to get minus 13. Gone. Cool? There is no way I could do it with 6 and 5. 3 and 10 I potentially could, but they both have to be positive. I need a minus 13, so they'd both have to be negative. I've got a positive number. I can't use them.
They don't have to be both negative.
To get to minus 13, how can you get with a 3 and a 10, with a 3 and a 10, how can you get to minus 13 without them being negative?
One of them has to be.
Which one? Okay, so minus 3 plus 10. Is that minus 13? Minus 10 plus 3. Is that minus 13?
No.
No. So that rules that one out. So can I do it with 2 and 15?
Yeah.
I could do minus 15 plus 2. Okay, so now I know what my numbers are. Minus 15 plus 2. In this particular case, because that is a negative. If that was a positive, yeah, then the biggest one would have to be a positive. Like if you had positive 13, then yeah, the biggest one would have to be a, yeah. Have I written it down right? Huh?
Is that it?
I don't know, have I written it down right? I wrote it down right, didn't I?
Can I take a photo of it? Or
I don't know, did I write it down right? You guys aren't helping me. No. 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 I wrote it down right. The sum's minus 13. But the product is a positive. Well, the product's a positive. So what does that mean? When your product is positive, both the numbers that you multiply have to be positive, don't they? Can't have a negative and a positive, because otherwise it multiply together and get a negative. So we can't use that one. It has to be 3 and 10, because they both have to be negative. So if you re-listen to this, you'll find that that's what I said, but not what I did. Minus 10 and minus 3. Add together to give you minus 13, don't they?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Minus 10, minus 3, minus 13. Cool. And minus 10 times minus 3 gives you... Yeah, that's where we went wrong. You guys should have picked it up. What did you say? Say it now.
2 negatives.
Yeah,
Multiply together.
they do. But, well, where's my other negative?
There's 2 negatives.
Where? There.
3 minus 10.
Well, that's awesome.
That's what I just...
Cool.
Hey, listen, mate, they are.
True.
Sir, can I please take a photo?
So that's not right.
So Butch was right.
Running out of time.
I was wrong. It's all good.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's my answer then? Butch?
Hey,
Butch? Butch?
Y,
Yes?
and then there's...
quick, we're running out of time.
Nah, I'm going to have to do it because you're taking too long. 5y squared minus 3y minus 10y plus 6. Remember I said that we're going to use the split method? Here we go. Pull out a common factor out of these first two. There's no 2 that goes into 5y squared. Pull out a common factor. Okay. So we end up with what? 5y minus 3. What's a common factor that comes out of there? 2. 5y minus 3. I pulled out a minus 2 because I'm running out of time on the video. Yeah? Because I got 40 seconds. So now I've split it. Can you see that I've split it? Okay. Now I can rewrite that. Y minus 2. 5y minus 3. Now we would normally write the 5y minus 3 first, not for any reason other than the fact that it's got the mnemonic. Is everyone happy with that?
Yep.
We've got time to spare. Jansen, take a photo.
It's focusing. Blurry.
Yeah, but take it.
There we go. Done.
All right.